number of women actually in the racing game is small. There are a handful of female trainers and 1 or 2 jockeys, and most of them ride over the sticks. But until now, the people who ferret out all the information and provide the tips for Britain's army punters have, to a man, been men, if you see what I mean. Now, however, a young former secretary from Ripon is well on the way to changing that. For centuries, racing has been seen as a pastime for the male of the species. It is, after all, the sport of kings, and today's tipsters go under names like the Scout, Captain Heath and Sir Harry. So it was no surprise then that when 26-year-old Susanne Denson got the cold shoulder from the rest of the lads in the press room after elbowing her way onto the tipsters' circuit. One sporting gentleman told her it was easier for a woman to become a brain surgeon than to get into racing. Well, ever since then she's been turning her grey matter to the form book in an effort to prove him wrong. But as Susanne has learnt in the 6 years she's been interested in racing, it's an unpredictable sport, and a good look at the horseflesh can reveal as much as any racing history. Up until recently, racing correspondent of BBC Radio Leeds, Susanne's now gone freelance, and I joined her on a sunny afternoon yesterday to go through the card at Thirsk. Now, Susanne, I'm not a gambling man, but I've got £7, and I'm going to put £1 on each of the races. What do you fancy in the first race?
Well, it's a difficult race because they're all 2-year-olds, 7 of them, and only 3 have run before. Plan time. That's number 1, but it's bound to be favourite.
What, each way or what, a win?
Well, you'd have to go to win. It's so difficult with the 2-year-olds, and with half of these not having run before. You know,
there may be a very good horse amongst them.
Well, absolutely, there might be.
Right, so we'll go for clan time, shall we? How to win clan time, please?
Only 16 on the favorite, John.
Thank you.
Only 16 on.
Take 5 to 4 here.
The odds have just changed. We're miles ahead, aren't we? He's walking it. No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Oh, no.
Yes, he's walking it comfortably. That's not bad. It's a good start. Lovely. Very well done. Excellent. It's 1 down anyway. 5 to 4 on, and I put £1 on. How much do I get? About 25p, don't I?
Not a lot. But it's something. £1's worth.
Because the question always is, if you're such a good tipster, why aren't you living in the Caribbean as a millionairess?
Because it's not possible to tip winners all the time. You can only go on the form. Like with this race, there's absolutely no form on half of these horses. And you know, the form doesn't come true because horses are individuals, like we are, you know. They have off days.
So what do you study? You study the going, the past record?
Past record, mostly, and I have my own handicap, which is terribly important. I just started it, actually. I didn't feel I was good enough before to have one, but I'm doing it now. And
what does that mean,
help.
your own handicap?
You work out for weights with the horses against what distance they've been beaten. And say a horse is beaten by 2 lengths, you work out how much weight that is over the distance it runs compared to the horse it beat. And when they next meet on different terms, you've got to mathematically work it out.
It's highly scientific, isn't it?
Not when you get used to it.
It must be one of the least secure jobs on earth, though, being a freelance tipster.
Well, you know, what's secure these days? I try to get work where I can, and I write for the Sporting Chronicle, which is closing, as you know. I get a few paragraphs in there. I'm doing an article for a magazine at the moment, so I'm not doing badly.
You're a gambler at heart.
I think I must be, you know. It's awful, isn't it?
All right, what's going to win the second race?
Second race. Again, it's very difficult. I think Marsh Track will be favourite.
Marsh Track, number 10, yeah.
Yes, but since we did so well in the last race, I'm going to go for Warbiola.
Which is the Sporting Constant.
That's right. And
but they're closing, so that's not...
They're closing, yes.
Now that was 16. Have a fund on Warbiola to win?
Yes, 5-9. I have laid out a 5-2.
And bookie John Joyce made himself £1. Warbiola was well down the field.
About 5th or 6th. Never mind.
Never mind.
Oh, well.
A very important part of any racing journalist's job is to chat up the trainers. As most of them are male, and Susanne is female and attractive, she has a distinctive...
Sold his car, but he said there was financial difficulties.
That chat seemed to work because the third race, Susanne pulled off a veritable coup. But not before what had been a beautiful spring afternoon turned into a dark, overcast. Heavens, accompanied by spectacular lightning and ear-shattering thunder, opened wide. Still, there was a good wind to compensate.
We've won it, we've won it! We've won it! Excellent. Excellent. Good. We got that at 10 to 1, and it started at 5 to 1. No, well done, you.
But unfortunately, this was to be the last success of the day. In the fourth race, Suzanne's tip was beaten by a head. And in race number 5, again we were second, but this time by a length.
Oh, a second.
It was only after a steward's inquiry that the fifth race, the 4:15, was run, and then to everyone's relief, the meeting was abandoned. Which was a pity because Susanne felt she had a good chance to get at least one more winner.
Well, Susanne, we're £7 up on 5 races, which isn't bad at all,
So
is
it's
it?
not bad at all, Mike, no. I think we've done quite well.
And of course you had 2 red-hot tips for the last 2 races.
Which weren't run, yes, unfortunately. Mind you, this ground is just horrible, all this rain.
But of course you haven't put any money on at all this afternoon. Do you ever bet?
I do occasionally, when I feel it's a red-hot favourite, which don't come along very often.
So you earn money out of the business rather than win it?
I do earn it, oh yes, I try to.
Now you're a trailblazer really, the first woman tipster. Do you think there'll be more coming along?
Well, I should think so, yes. Following in my footsteps, why not? And good luck to them.
How's that?
But as generations of gamblers, both rich and poor, will tell you, luck has very little to do with it.
Or send a cheque payable to BBC Education, the Art and Antiques Action Pack, PO Box 7, London W12D. And if you want to discover more, check out BBC Learning Zone on BBC Two tonight. All these details on fact page 6.
Getting to grips with wood graining. Tomorrow's Art and Antiques Hour at the same time, 1:10. Next on BBC Two, Ghosts of Christmas Past, the story of nuclear testing in the Pacific. Roy Gosling takes a look at the fall and rise of the airship, its past and future on